never going to stop until killer cops are in cell blocks. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Justice for Tyrone West.
Justice for Tyrone West.
Justice for all victims.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to give a quick update on the Keith Davis situation for everybody. Thank you, yeah. So for people who don't know, Keith Davis Jr. is the first person shot by BPD after Freddie was murdered. June 7th, 2015, he was walking down the street at an intersection not too unlike this, over Park Heights and Belvedere, and somebody was in a car accident nearby. Police were there, responded to that, and a guy in a hack drove up to the accident and told the police officers he was getting robbed. The hack, by the way, is just like an unlicensed cab driver. He says he's getting robbed. The police start approaching. Somebody hops out the back and takes off. Police give chase, pull out their guns. Everybody scatters because they're fucking smart. They try to save their lives when they see guns come out. Keith runs down an alley with a bunch of other people, cuts one way. The police lock onto him, chase him into an auto garage where he hides behind a refrigerator for his life. As 4 police officers unload 44 bullets on an unarmed man. He got hit by 3 of those bullets, including once in the face. It was right here. The bullet was lodged in his neck for 2 years before they gave him surgery to remove part of the bullet. He's still got fragments that'll be in there forever because they're just too dangerous to operate on. He survived, was immediately charged with 15 crimes. That was in 2015. By the end of 2015, they'd added that up to 21. Eventually, he went to trial on a bunch of those charges and beat all of them except for one on a technicality. The jury found that he was not guilty of assault, he was not guilty of discharging a firearm, he was not guilty of a litany of things, including, they said he was not guilty of possession of a firearm. They also said he was guilty of possession of a firearm after having a previous felony conviction. I did not say that wrong, it just doesn't make sense. They said he was not guilty of possession of a firearm and guilty of possession of a firearm after having a previous felony conviction. Based on that, he had to do a mandatory 5 years, which he's serving right now. After that trial, the police threw on a whole new set of charges related to a murder that happened the same day, June 7, 2015. You might have heard about this murder because it was highly publicized. It was a security guard who was walking by Pimlico Racetrack who was gunned down and murdered. They're trying to tie Keith to that scene. There's been a whole series of motion hearings and pretrial hearings. There's one more coming up this week. This Friday, October 6th at 2 p.m., there will be a hearing at the same courthouse, Courthouse East, which is downtown on Calvert Street, to determine a few last-minute things to do with the trial. It's very important. Anyone who can show up, at most, it'll be 2 to 5 p.m. I anticipate it'll be shorter than that, but it's the court system, so who the hell knows, right? More important than that, next week, Keith Davis Jr. goes on his 3rd trial in 2 years as an innocent man. He goes to trial for a murder that he didn't convict, that the last time he went to trial on this murder was a hung jury where 11 of the 12 jurors said he was not guilty, and 1 presumably said guilty. That's it. One white woman, truthfully, one white woman who lived right over the line from Towson is the way she described it, said that she didn't know how the police could be making all this up, and so she wasn't going to vote not guilty. That is why Keith Davis Jr. is in jail, is still on trial. That was a hung jury, which means the state can retry him again. And that is happening next week, October 10th. Keith Davis Jr. goes on trial for murder.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Tuesday.
What time?
It'll be starting at 8:30, but there'll be pre-trial stuff and all that. You should follow Baltimore Block for updates, exact location and time, and there'll be people gathering to do court support as we did last time. The important Sorry, what's that?
BLOC.
Yeah, Baltimore block, BLOC, not BLOCK. The other thing I want to do while I'm up here real quick is just give another thank you to the West family for coming out here. This is 220 weeks? 219 straight weeks. 219 straight weeks that they come out here and bare their heart and soul so that no one else has to go through this pain. And as Tawanda will tell you when she comes out here every week, it's been 4 years and she's got not less tears. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. 4 years, many more tears. Because not only did these animals brutalize her family, they didn't even give her, how many months was it before you got any sort of autopsy results?
It took them 5 months.
5 months.
5 months to give us a full plan autopsy.
And when did somebody come to your family and tell you what happened?
No one never.
No one never.
Never. They didn't even call us. We couldn't even get to call nobody's friends to get that your loved one was even involved in the incident. Did nothing. I'm sorry. I literally had to see my brother's dead body on the news. That's how we found out. When they had my ID badge hanging up in my car, everything was no reason for them not. And then they hit my brother additional 5 days for not release his body to the funeral home of my family's choice.
Disgusting. It's disgusting. This is a family in pain, and they don't even have the dignity to go and visit the family and tell them, "Oh yeah, we killed your son." They don't even give them the respect. When this family went to go talk to the state's attorney, Greg Bernstein at the time, this man looked this family in the eye and said, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to charge any of these officers. I'm going to give them full immunity." That's it. Without even finishing an investigation.
And he laughed at Anthony Anderson.
Laughed in Anthony Anderson family's face, laughed in everybody's face. And now we got a state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. Marilyn Mosby, who made a name for herself on Freddie Gray's back and decided that she was going to stake her political career on the speech and then not following through on anything, on letting all 6 of the killer cops walk away and get back pay. And then hamstring Keith Davis Jr. for 2 years and not have the guts to sit down with the West family for another 2 years, right? Unacceptable, disgusting. We need to be there for the Keith Davis Jr. family because one of the great things that Tawanda has done is open up this space so that we can learn about how many people this happens to on a daily basis and have them tell their stories. And that's how we know about Keith Davis Jr. because West Wednesday exists and Keith's fiance Kelly was able to come out here and tell everybody what's going on. And we need to show up for Kelly, we need to show up for Keith, because if we can do this, if we can win, then we can change the way the game is played. We can tell the state's attorney's office that when the community decides we're going to rally behind somebody, we'll do it for 2 years. We'll do it for 3 years, we'll do it for 10 years until they're free.